Hello, everyone. Shall we start? It's 3.2. It's 1 minute to start. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us in today's webinar on ISO 27001. My name is Khaled. I have 20 plus years experience in information security, information technology, and governance. I have an extensive experience in implementing consultation and training for ISO 27001, ISMS, Information Security Management System, ISO 27002, 707, BIMS, Privacy Information Management System, and ISO 27002, Information Security Control. And I'm really thrilled to have you here today. I know it's just 1 hour, our webinar in 1 hour. But from my side, I will make sure to make this 1 hour a great knowledge experience for the key concepts of ISO 27001. I want you to know that this webinar is not just for technical people. This webinar is for technical people who are interested to start their journey in ISO 27001 lead implementation. It's also for top management who are interested to know what is ISO 27001, what it will add to their organization. Also, it's for sales people, sales and pre-sales team, to know an overview of this great standard or service to be able to highlight the benefits to ISO 27001 to their clients. Now, let's move to our agenda for today. Our agenda will cover what is ISO 27001, what is the outcome, what is the benefits of implementing ISO 27001, the key components of ISO 27001, and then the journey for the implementation and the certification audit. Then this part will be very interesting. This is the common challenges when we think about implementing ISO 27001. Then we'll have 15 minutes for your questions. Let's jump into our first slide, our first topic, which is ISO 27001. Actually, I'm not going to talk about ISO itself. I believe we all know ISO, International Organizations for Standardization. So I will start directly with ISO 27001. ISO 27001, simply, it's an international standard, but for information security management system. This is an international standard for information security management system. It provides you with a structured framework for the organizations to protect their data and actually for information assets in general against the security threats such as the cyber attacks, data breaches, or even insider threats from their organizations caused by their employees. Why I'm mentioning CIA? CIA is confidentiality, integrity, and availability. When we say cybersecurity, we directly think, we as information security people, we directly think about CIA triad. CIA is the core principle behind almost, I'm saying, I will be fair to say, almost every cybersecurity standard. Not only ISO 27001, by the way, CIA is the core principle for any cybersecurity standards such as ISO 27001, NIST TSF, NIST Cybersecurity Framework, PCI DSS, GDPR, General Data Protection Regulations. So when we think ISO 27001 should tackle this standard from the perspective of CIA. What is C? C stands for confidentiality. I'm not going to talk a lot about CIA, but I will give you a high-level overview about these important key principles in information security. Confidentiality, which is to ensure that information is accessible only for the authorized user. For example, any control related to access controls, MFA controls, multi-factor authentications, encryption controls. These are controls for confidentiality. I, which is integrity, to ensure the accuracy and consistency of the data. To ensure the accuracy and the consistency for the data through its all life cycles. And when we say integrity, we directly think about data validations, we think about hashing, version control, and so on. Availability, it's very meaningful. Availability is the availability of data. Ensure the information are available or accessible when it's needed by the authorized people. And when we say availability, we talk here about different topics such as BCP, Business Continuity Plan, Disaster Recovery Plan, backups, redundancy, fault tolerance, and so on. That's why CIA trial is essential when you think about implementing ISMS or implementing information security management system based on ISO 27001 to ensure data protection and compliance and risk management as well. This is a brief about ISO 27001. Now the benefits. What is the outcomes of information? Why ISO 27001? Or in general, why implementing information security management system based on ISO 27001 matter? The benefits of implementing information security management system based on ISO 27001, the first benefit is information security. You enhance your information security and risk management. By protecting the sensitive data from cyber threats, protect it from data breaches, or simply to protect it from unauthorized access to your sensitive information or your data assets. Also, you need to ensure a systematic approach for risk management. You don't tackle the cybersecurity or information security risk by every individual. No, you need to have a systematic approach for risk management. You have a systematic approach for risk assessment, risk treatment, whatever the approach you are going to follow, as I told you, regardless, but you need to have a systematic approach by implementing the information, the ISO 27001 for risk assessment, which covers identifications, analysis, and evaluation of the risk. Also, risk treatment, how we are going to manage this risk. We have a systematic approach to treat the risks reported or found during the risk assessment process. Legal regulatory compliance. When we talk about legal, if your organization is subject to any regulatory compliance, any regulator, such as GDPR, General Data Protection Regulation, to ensure proper handling of personal data, HIPAA for industries, for health and health insurance industry. It's very important. It's a regulation to protect the health care information. NIST CSF, NIST Cybersecurity Framework. It's a US regulatory compliance to ensure best practice for risk assessment and incident response. For the organizations work in the industry of the financial industry or providing financial services, PCI DSS they may be subject to PCI DSS to enhance the payment security and to protect the cardholder data. Also, governance, good governance. By the way, governance is not optional here. Governance is not optional. It's very important to know that key requirement in ISO 27001 is having policies, roles, and responsibilities, and it's clearly mentioned in ISO 27001 standard. We have a clause 5.2 requirement to have policies, and the clause 5.3 to have roles and responsibilities. Also awareness of the personnel running your information security management system in terms of allocating the proper resources, ensure the competences of these resources, conduct awareness sessions and training sessions. This is one of the benefits of having information security management system based on ISO 27001. And this benefit, I'm sure, if we have the management team or someone from the top management attending this webinar, it's very important for them to know that by implementing information security management system based on ISO 27001, you increase the customer trust. Increase the customer trust. And it's very important to know that by implementing ISO 27001, there is a direct impact to increase the customer trust. How does it work? It's simply demonstrating a commitment to the data protection. You boost the customer confidentiality. Actually, the idea of certification audit for ISO 27001, it's a great idea. It's a great idea to gain customer trust. Involving, why? Why does it matter? Because involving a certification audit or generally involving independent third party who has no any interest in your organization. Certification audit or certification bodies has no any interest in your organization to assess your organization ISMS. This process will play a crucial role to build the trust, to build the customer trust by ensuring you are following security practices meets international standards. Another benefit is it's a competitive edge. It's competitive edge, and it has a direct relation with increasing the customer trust. How? Because as a result of increasing the customer trust, it will directly lead to what? It will directly lead to higher revenue, either by attracting new clients or improving the existing customer loyalty. And as a result, it will directly have a result for increasing the business opportunities. Cost saving. How the cost saving is a benefit? Yes. I want you to share with me this principle. I always believe, I believe that the cost of prevention almost always less than the cost of correction, especially in information, especially in the security incident. Cost of prevention is less than the cost of correction. And you need to highlight this to the top management, because the top management, they will secure the fund, they will secure the resources. Also, if you are subject to any regulatory compliance or legal compliance or even any business contractual obligations, you reduce the lawsuits caused by data leakage or even non-compliance fines. Employee awareness. How implementing information security management system based on ISO 27001 will increase the employees' awareness? Simply because it's a requirement. It's not an option. It's not an option in ISO 27001 to increase the awareness of your employees. Competences and awareness programs and the training programs is mandatory in information security management system. It's mandatory in ISO 27001, and it's explicitly highlighted in clause 7.2 and 7.3 in the standard. Also, a very important point here, you need to build a security mindset, not only security mindset, a security first mindset among your employees by implementing ISO 27001. Continuous improvement. Implementers or management or the organization need to know that security it's not one-time effort. It's not one-time project, has start date and end date. No, there is a regular improvement, regular audit and reviews and updates in your information security management system, which is required. So here are the benefits of implementing ISO 27001, enhancing information security management systems, legal regulatory compliance, good governance, increasing customer trust, competitive edge, also reducing the cost and improve the employees' awareness in your organization, and last but not least, continuous improvement to your organization. Okay, these are the benefits. You decided to implement ISO 27001. What is the first step? The first step before starting to implement ISO 27001, it's very important to know the key concepts in information security management system. Information security management system based on ISO 27001, actually it consists of several key components to ensure effectiveness of risk management, effectiveness of the controls you implemented, and continual improvement. Let's start with the first key component. The first key component is the information security management system. What is information security management system, which is the key component in any management system? This is the overall framework. This is the overall framework that governs how the organization manage and protect their information assets. This is a high level, the overall framework. And this framework includes or consists of policies, processes, procedures, controls, plus associated resources and activities for what? For protecting the information assets. This is simply the information security management system. The second key component here is the leadership. Leadership, or actually I'm talking about the top management now. The top management commitment to support is essential for the success of any information security management system. Based on ISO 27001 or based on any framework, top management support is an essential. Why? Why it's essential? Because who established the security objective from the beginning? Top management. Who established the policies? I'm not talking about developing policies here. I'm talking about establishing the policies from the beginning, setting the strategic directions from the beginning. Top management. So top management play a crucial role in the success of any information security management system. Risk management. Risk management and treatment. Yes, risk management is a key component. It's all risk-based. Any activity you do or you perform in information security management system based on ISO 27001 shall be based on risk-based. It's risk-based approach. We call it risk-based approach. So conduct risk assessment to identify, analyze, and the security threats, identify your assets, identify your vulnerabilities, the threats surrounding the vulnerabilities in your assets that may exploit these vulnerabilities and cause harm to your organization is a risk assessment. Then analyze it, evaluate a potential threat and vulnerability, then implement risk treatment measure for what? To mitigate these risks identified in the risk assessment. So this is quickly, in brief, the risk assessment component. And you can, if you are interested in information security risk assessment or risk management, you can refer to ISO 27005. It's great standard for guidelines to manage the information security risk assessment and treatment. Policies and procedures. Policies and procedure is a key component in information security management system. Starting from establishment, approving, documenting, and sharing the policies. The information security policies, and I'm saying policies because it's not just one policy. Here I'm talking about information security policy and the information related policies that cover all the aspects of information security, such as access control policy, encryption policy, let's be more generic, cryptographic policy, data classification policy, bring your own device policy, and so on. All these policies is a key component for any organization want to implement ISO 27001. Annex A controls. What is Annex A control, which is the favorite part for the technical people? Controls in ISO 27001 refer by Annex A. Annex A simply it's security controls. They are 9-3 controls, and these it's not only these 9-3 controls. You can find other customized controls for your organization, but generally, from my experience, I didn't find any. I didn't meet any business requirement, or I didn't conduct any risk assessment and get a risk treatment option from outside these 9-3 controls. They are 9-3 controls covering everything in information security. And starting from organizational controls, actually it's categorized in 4 categories. Information security controls, Annex A in ISO 27001, categorized in 4 categories: organizational controls, people controls, physical controls, and technological controls. Organizational controls such as any control performed or developed by the organization, such as policies, roles and responsibilities, and so on. People control, which is the second category. People control, any control related to people, training, awareness programs, responsibilities for the teams. These are people controls. Also, the third category in Annex A controls is physical controls. Physical controls mean any physical equipment in the organization, such as access control, security access control, metal gate. This is a physical control. The cameras, this is a physical control. And the fourth one, the last category, which is the most interested part for technical people, which is the technological control. And technological controls, it's security control, technological controls such as network security, firewalls, encryption, backup, anti-malware, PAMs. These are technological controls. The sixth key component in ISO 27001 is the SOA, Statement of Applicability. You should have a Statement of Applicability. And simply Statement of Applicability, it's a document. Document lists all the Annex A controls, the 9-3 controls that I have just mentioned, which one is applicable, which one is not applicable. justification for inclusion, justification for exclusion. That's it. Statement of applicability. We list all the 93 controls and say this control is applicable. Why it's applicable? Because before I decide it's applicable, I have conducted a risk assessment and decided to implement this control. This is applicable. This is not applicable. You need to justify why does it not. This is not applicable. So justification for inclusion and justification for exclusion. Asset management. Asset management. It goes without saying. You cannot implement any management system, information security management system, without having asset management system. Why? Because identifying the critical assets, or to be more specific, the critical information assets in your organization, it's essential. You need to identify the critical assets in terms of data, information, systems. Also, by the way, the assets could be intellectual property assets. You need to identify them. You need to have an ownership and responsibility for this assets protection, and define a clear process for handling and storing these critical assets in your organization. And by the way, if you are interested in asset management, you can use ISO 55001 asset management system. Incident management and response. Incident management and response. If you think about information security, you must establish a structured incident response plan in the beginning. So you should have a structured incident response plan to define the procedures step by step. What should we do in the case of incidents? Starting from the detecting the incident, reporting the incident, or actually detection, reporting the incident, containerization or containing the incidents, and response to this incident effectively. And when I talk incidents, I'm talking security incidents. Monitoring and measurement. Monitoring and measurement, also, this is not an optional. This is the key component in any information security management system. Why? Because it's a requirement in ISO 27000. It's not an optional thing. It's a requirement. So you need to have KPIs to continually monitor not just the efficiency of the implemented controls. I'm not talking about the efficiency of implemented controls and performance and so on. No, I'm talking about the efficiency, the effectiveness. I'm talking here about the effectiveness of the information security management systems, the effectiveness of the implemented controls mentioned in the statement of applicability. Okay. Also, you need to conduct internal audits. You need to conduct internal audit. Regular internal audit is very important, not very important. It's a requirement. It's a requirement. One of the requirements if you want to have a certification audit or have ISO 27001 is to conduct regular internal audits to identify the weaknesses, to identify area of improvements, and to have a report. We call it non-conformity report. I know I conduct the internal audit and see there is weakness. Here there is an area of improvement. Here are non-conformities. This is major non-conformity. This is minor non-conformity. We need to have action plan to overcome or to fix these non-conformities. So monitoring, measurement, and audit is key component. Also, continuous improvement. As I told you, information security management system based on ISO 27001 use approach called BDCB. BDCB, plan, do, check, and act. It's a iterative approach. So you need to follow the plan, do, check, and act approach to ensure the ongoing enhancement in your information security management system. Now we know what is information security management system, what is the benefits of information security management system, the key components. I like the idea. The top management told you, okay, Khaled, we need to implement ISO 27001. What is the implementation steps? As I told you, implementing information security management system based on ISO 27001 based on plan, do, check, and act. And here, by the way, here I'm not going to refer to a specific methodological framework. Instead, I will cover the key elements when we implement in the implementation and roadmap for implementation of ISO 27001. Phase 1 is the planning. Normally, we start with planning. We start with project planning and leadership buy-in. In the planning, we need to secure management support. You need to ensure, you need to explain the benefits to the management to support you. And in this stage, it's very important when you, if you want to get the management support, top management support, you need to talk to the top management, talk to them business, not talk to them technical, talk to them business. You need to highlight the business benefits of implementing information security management system. What is the risk reduction, the competitive edge, and these things. So you get approved 3 things, or actually 2 things or 3 things. You get approval for the budget, approval for the resources and timeline. Then we start to, the next step is define the scope. You identify which assets, which processes, which locations are going to be covered in the information security management system. Scoping is very important. There is some details about the scoping. We have 3 elements when we scope, we set the scope in information security management system. We need to identify the boundaries, identify the physical boundary for implementation, the organizational boundary, and the technological boundary as well to implement. So scope should be set and should be aligned with the business objectives. Also in the planning phase, after get the management approval, set the scope, we need to assign the project team. This is the 3rd activity, which is assign project teams and responsibility for the implementation and appoint a project manager. It's a project. It's a project. So you need to have ISMS or information security management system project manager in this phase. Then develop. The 4th step is to develop risk assessment. We're still in planning, by the way. We're still in planning, not to miss it. We're still in the planning phase. You need to develop risk assessment and risk treatment plan. Why I need to develop a risk assessment and risk treatment plan? Because I need to identify the statement of applicability. So you need the 5th or the last step in the planning is to have SOA, statement of applicability. And the statement of applicability here, it's not just a document with 93 controls. I will implement this, not implement this, implement this, not implement this. No, it's not like this. It's not like this. ISM statement of applicability should be based on risk assessment and risk analysis. It should be based on risk assessment and risk analysis. You completed the planning, then start the implementation. Start the implementation. Now this is the time to start implementing the control. Which controls? The controls addressed in where? The statement of applicability. You need whatever applicable in the statement of applicability, you need to start to implement it. Controls such as I decided to implement access control, encryption control. I need to have an anti-malware control, IPS, IPS, IDS, firewalls, WAFs. These are all controls needs to be implemented to mitigate risks identified in the risk assessment and decided to be treated in the risk treatment and listed in the statement of applicability. That's it. Implement the controls? No, not enough. After implementing the control, who will operate these controls? Who? People, right? So you need to run the proper training and awareness session for the people or for the employees are going to operate these controls. The third one, or the third activity or step here is implementing incident response plan and operate the changes. You start to operate. I implemented something, implemented controls to mitigate risk, and I want to operate accordingly. I want to ensure it's not just some documents I prepared and put it on the shelf and didn't implement it. I need to operate it. Operate in terms of it changes. You know, we all in dynamic environment, right? We all in dynamic environment. Every day we have change, right? Every day we have changes. It changes in information security management system, and I want to get your attention in this because there is a question I frequently receive in the training programs I run. I receive this question a lot in the training I ran before. The question is, should security risk assessment be performed before each change? Should I conduct risk assessment before each change? Why? Because as per ISO 27001 clause 8.2, organization shall perform security risk assessment when significant change are proposed or occurred. So we are talking about significant change, not every change, not every change I conduct risk assessment. Conduct what? I conduct impact assessment in the beginning. So when we have any change may impact our information security, I first conduct impact assessment to identify, is this a change, significant change? Yes, this is significant change. So let's perform risk assessment. Okay. After implementation and operation evaluation, I need now to monitor the security instance. I need to monitor the risk matrices. I need to evaluate either not just the incidents and the security controls. No, I need even to evaluate the policies itself, because maybe I need to change the policies. So I need to regularly check the policies and conduct internal audit to review the compliance in the implemented information security management system. After conducting internal audit, I need to take the internal audit report and go to the management. Hello, Mr. Management, let's conduct management review. Conducting management review to review the findings in the internal audit report and check, do we need to do any change? Do we need to change anything? What is the action plan? Are we going to stay? What is the feedback? And so on. Then act accordingly. Internal audits found some issues and documented his issues or the non-conformities in internal audit reports. Now we need to address these non-conformities. We need to address these non-conformities and implement corrective actions. And these corrective actions, maybe we need to refine the policy. Maybe we need to change the risk mitigation strategy, but we need to act accordingly after identifying the issues in our information security management system. Also in this stage, you need to be prepared for the external audit. Now we implemented, we checked, we conducted internal audit, management review. Now this is what is next. This is the time to call the certification audit. This is what we are going to cover here. We still have 7 minutes to cover this slide. Preparation, you need to prepare for the certification. Actually, preparation comes from inside. You need to choose an accredited certification body, accredited against ISO 27001. And before call the certification body, you need to conduct pre-certification audit first. Then contact the certification audit. Then you contact the certification body. Typically, you have a call with the certification program manager, then start the certification audit. Actually, we have two stages in the certification audit, stage 1 and stage 2. Quickly, stage 1, simply for document review. Stage 1 audit, it could be on site or could be remotely, but in stage 1 audit, we certification audit assess is all the required documentation for information security management system based on ISO 27001 requirements exists or not. I'm not talking about did you implement this or not. Stage 1 talk about document review. Okay, then stage 2 is about ensure the actual implementation of information security management system. And in stage 2 should be on site. In stage 2, auditor evaluates the actual implementation of the information security management system. You need to see evidences. Show me the implementation. Show me the control. What changes has been done? These changes. What did you do when this change before? Did you conduct risk assessment? Yes. Show me. Does it comply with the risk assessment plan? Yes or no? Sit with the employees. Interview the employees. See they know what they are doing in the information security management system or not. This is stage 2. After the internal audit, this is a certification decision. Taking a decision. If compliant, ISO 27001 certification issued, and it's valid for 3 years. If it's not any non-conformity, you need to, client or organization should provide corrective action. Also, there is another type of audits, which is surveillance audit. Surveillance audit, it's an annual audit. After the certification audit, every year there is a surveillance audit. It's less extensive than the certification audit. It's just ensure continual compliance and continual improvement in your information security management system. Then after 3 years, you recertification audit. We have a recertification audit with full re-evaluation of the information security management system for renewal the certification. This is the life cycle for certifications. The last slide, I still have 3 minutes. The last slide about the challenges. You implemented information security management system based on ISO 27001. Is it easy? Not challenges? No, there is challenges. But believe me, although there is challenge, but believe me, it's highly rewarding. It's highly rewarding. Organizations that commit to security best practice gain, not just improve security in the organization, no, but gain competitive edge. The first challenge here is lack of management support. Because sometimes senior management see ISO 27001, this is something secondary. This is not a main priority. And say this is costly. This is costly compliance exercise rather than invest in something which is business enabler. And in this case, you need how to overcome this. But by the way, if you do not have a management support, who will give you the fund? Who will fund and give you the resources? So you need to overcome. How to overcome this situation? By highlighting the business benefits. You need to highlight the business benefits to the organization. You can use business case study for organizations getting a new client because they implemented ISO 27001. Resistance to change. Sometimes employees may resist new security policies. Why? Because it disrupts the existing workflow. It may take the employees from their comfort zone. So in this case, how to overcome this challenge, you need to provide awareness to these employees to understand why information security matter in the organization. And also you need to make information security part of the daily operation in the organization. Complex documentation. By the way, ISO 27001 has a lot of documentation, policies, processes, the procedures, and many organizations, even enterprise organizations, struggle with implementing documentation. So you need to ensure having templates. You can use ISO 27001 templates to speed up the documentation. Also, you need to have to implement a document management system to maintain the versions and so on. Identifying the security risks, yes, it's a challenge. Identifying the security risk itself, it's a challenge. And I will not be overstating. I will not be overstating when I say it could be impossible to implement risk information security risk assessment without right expertise to conduct risk assessment. So you need, in this case, to overcome this challenge, you need to use risk assessment methodology. Use whatever methodology you want, but you need to have a methodology. Use ISO 27005. Use NIST. You have a great publication from NIST. Its number is NIST 800-37. It's 180 page, but it deserves to read it. Engage security consultants. Technical implementation gaps. Some organization may not have expertise to implement these security controls, such as firewalls, encryption, and so on. And may they have a challenge in integrating these controls in the existing infrastructure. And to overcome of this, you should start from the beginning by have a comprehensive gap analysis, and you may need to invest in security, in cybersecurity training. Audit and certification. Some organizations see audits, it's stressful. It's stressful and time consuming. And in this case, you need to conduct internal audit before the official certification. You may also call for support from any ISO 27001 consultant. These are the common challenges from my experience I saw in my experience in implementing information security management system based on ISO 27001. Thank you for your attention. Now let's open, we have 10 minutes. Let's open the floor for your questions. I'd love to hear your thoughts and your questions. So we have 10 minutes for your questions. Any question here? You can drop your questions on the chat. Any question? I see no questions. Okay, before we wrap up.
Sir Khaled, Assalamu alaikum.
Sure. Alaikum assalam.
Yes, thank you so much for the informative session. I just want to ask you about prior to implementing the or applying for the ISO certificate itself. If the organization doesn't have a plan to be ISO certified, I think it's a step. It's a couple of steps you need to do before you reach to a stage where you need an ISO certification, especially if you are not an IT house. It's an IT department in an operation or in a company. So from your experience, what are the prerequisites in order to prepare before you plan to apply for the ISO certificate? What sort of maturity you need to reach internally prior to reaching to that?
Thank you very much, Badr. This is very important question because, as you mentioned, Badr, this is a journey. And before you apply for the certification, you need to ensure the following, the key components in your organization. You need to have a system. You need to have a system before calling for the certification. And by the way, Badr, some people, some organizations implement information security management system based on ISO 27001, not for certification, but they believe they need to implement information security management system because of these benefits, enhancing the security. They need a good governance. They need to reduce the costs for that may be caused by security incidents. So it's a journey. It's a journey, and before you call for a certification audit, you need to implement first. And you know what? Either if you call for a certification audit, you cannot implement, then call immediately for a certification audit, because certification audit needs to see evidences, minimum 3 months evidences. Before calling the certification audit, you need to implement your information security management system, ensure everything is okay, implement the controls, conduct internal audit, prepare the internal audit report, non-conformities, conduct management review meeting, and call for the external audit, the certification body. Certification body themselves needs to see evidences. How they will be sure that you implemented the information security, you are actual implementation. It's not just some documents on the shelf. They need to see changes, incidents, and see how you respond to these incidents, and so on. So you need to prepare yourself, ensure these key components in place. You have risk assessment, you have all the required policies and processes. You need to implement the technological controls, physical controls, organizational controls based on the risk assessment. Prepare everything, prepare a statement of applicability where applicable, where controls are applicable in your situation that mitigates the risks. Then call for the certification. As I told you, they may be or implementation, not for the intention for certification. They believe in a systematic approach. I hope I answered your question better.
Thank you, Khaled. Thank you.
Thank you. Any question? Okay. We still have 5 minutes before we wrap up. Let's quickly recall the key points we covered today. What is ISO 27001? What is the outcomes? Why need to implement ISO 27001? What are the key components of ISO 27001? I need to ensure it's there. How to implement the implementation steps based on plan, do, check, and act. Certification audit. What are the common challenges and how to overcome these challenges? If you would like to learn more, thank you very much. And if you would like to learn more about ISO 27001 or any other compliance services training, please check iExperts website, www.iexperts.com. Also, feel free to contact me directly on LinkedIn. Be my guest for any support. I want you to know that this session is recorded, by the way. This session is recorded, and it will be available on iExperts platform and YouTube channel. And by the way, for those who registered to the events with their email, you will receive an email with the link to the recorded session. And the good news here is, even if you did not register in the event, please drop your email in the chat here, so iExperts team will share the recorded session with you. Huge thank you for you all for being here today, and a huge thank you for the attendees I invited. I appreciate your attendance. Thank you very much for our amazing sponsor for this event. iExperts, I truly appreciate your contribution to the information security and services and compliance industry, also the training industry as well. I hope you found this session insightful and valuable, and look forward to seeing you in more events. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you.